about making sure that children are fed. This is the value that I think most New Zealand understands. There's no reason for any child to go hungry in this country.
Just to clarify, so this is to make it permanent?
Yes, we would like to see this school, for example, Hay Park, the funding for the current programs will come to an end. We want to make sure it continues, but we want to expand it to more schools, prioritising the communities who are struggling the most first.
How much is that going to cost?
With the extra 400 schools, which will be about 135,000 extra students, that'll be $191.1 million per year.
So how many students overall is it? You want to up it from 230,000 now to...
Plus an extra 135,000. And that's to start off with. Once we have the communities who need it, once we have more of that established, eventually we want to work towards making this universal for all schools.
And you're paying for it with a wealth tax.
Yes.
Wealth tax isn't going to get across the line with Labor. They've ruled it out. So if that's off the table, how will you pay for it?
No one gets to rule out any policies, Lloyd. I'm really clear about that. That power remains with the voters. If people like the solutions that we're offering, free dental for everyone, free school lunches, more income support, ending homelessness, people can vote for it. The more votes we have, the more chance we have to get this over the line.
Do you have a plan B, though?
I am focused on getting as many votes as we can for the Green Party. That's where my mind and my focus has to remain, and that's what we're working on. That's our message to everybody.
But the Green Party's not going to get a majority government, so if Labor's ruled it out, if National's ruled it out, then this is dead in the water, right? No,
not at all. We know that there's support for a wealth tax around the country. We've seen that time and time again from polls. People can see now that 311 families holding $85 billion of wealth is unfair and just will not be sustainable. So if people want a party with some leadership and the courage to do something, that is voting for the Green Party that will help to make that happen. Whatever the numbers are, giving the Green Party the biggest hand will allow us to get as much of our solutions over the line as possible.
There's a big part of this campaign kind of saying, okay, we want to do a wealth tax, but we're going to also demonstrate all the things that we can do if we do enact a wealth tax.
We have got what we need in this country to take stronger climate action, to end homelessness, to end children and whānau poverty immediately, for dental for everybody, for free school lunches, for climate safe cities, for clean energy payments. If people like those solutions, we've also got the experience and have shown 2 terms in a government arrangement for getting things done. People can vote for it, and it's about unlocking the resources for the super wealthy, only the super wealthy, to pay a little bit more towards doing all the things we need to do.
Te Pāti Māori also advocating for a wealth tax. I mean, could you see a situation where you might sort of, join forces with them to increase your bargaining power if it came to that?
I think that's absolutely up for voters. What we are facing here is an Aotearoa with a really harmful, dangerous National Act government, or an Aotearoa with a government who want to put in place the solutions that will help people and protect our climate and environment. And we're really pleased that Te Pāti Māori share some similar policies that we have got as well.
On the school lunches program, there was a pre-budget report.
Pre-FU.
Before the budget.
Before budget.
Yeah, by Treasury, which recommended that the program not be made permanent until some issues were kind of...
The evaluation.
And they found, I think about 10%, 12% of lunches being wasted, and they didn't think it was targeted enough. The right people getting it. So I guess what are you going to do to address those issues?
I've spoken to teachers who, for example, have managed to work out sharing the food with other organisations and other schools who also need it. When you have got the program done at the most local level, when the school themselves, who have got the relationships and know what's around in their own communities, that's where the waste is minimised. So we are really conscious about wanting to reduce waste, and that would be ongoing work, working with schools at the most local level to be able to do that.
What would you say to people that might, prefer to have more money, say, going into families and then making these decisions themselves rather than...
Yes,
schools?
And it is only the Green Party who are offering the most financial support for people struggling the most, lower and middle income families, with our income guarantee, with the extra supports for families with children. We understand that our income guarantee with free school lunches will just lower the stresses that families are facing right now, and will make a massive difference to their well-being, but also their mental health.
There are a number of countries that do this kind of stuff overseas, where kids go to school and they get free lunches. Does it seem like New Zealand's behind the 8 ball on this?
Yes, it does. There are many countries overseas who actually have free lunches for all schools. That's important to not allow for the stigma between some children need lunches and some children don't. Just make it that we are feeding all of our kids in schools. For us, that's the value that we're upholding.
In terms of the wastage, why not get schools to have some compost bins, and then they can have a garden?
And many do. So again, it's at that lower, most localised level where the waste minimisation has already shown to be happening. So that's a really essential built-in part of what we would like to see, is working with schools for those solutions at the most local level.
What about the non-food wastage? So I'll just wait for this bell to go.
Yep, I'll wait for that. It's like being back in the house again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the non-food wastage? Because we've just seen it in the class. They've got big polystyrene boxes, and each of the individual meals there's lots of plastic, lots of packaging. If you make it internal, so each school, you give them a grant to build a kitchen, you pay them to have someone who makes the meal, they can reuse plates and cutlery. Is that something that you guys are pushing for?
Our policy includes a grant for the schools that don't have their own full kitchens. Some schools only need a minor bit of upgrading. Some schools will need a bit more funding, and that's built into our costing and our policy as well. I just want to be clear, however, yes, as a country, as a world, we need to reduce our waste, and we all need to work together to do that. But the first principle is feed children in our schools as a really important value that this country holds.
So you'd rather feed the kids than prevent plastic waste?
It's not either or. It's not a trade-off, Lloyd. It's about recognising that we all, in all parts of our lives, will need to work, and it's the Greens who have led a sort of end of life, making sure that organisations are responsible for their waste. It's the Green Party who have championed this. But first and foremost, let's be very, very clear. These are things to work through rather than reasons to not feed children in schools.
What is your message to those people that look at the political reality and they go, this is pie in the sky, this just simply won't happen?
I encourage people to see that the Greens have been able to show we can get this done. Our policies have been fully costed. With a wealth tax, it will unlock so many things that we can do, that we need to do. And people can vote for us. We've been laser focused on our policy. Our support has been increasing after every announcement, because people can see we care about the things that are going to work now, but also for future generations as well. And I invite people, you can vote for us. We are steady. We have got a leadership team, myself and James, who are really experienced. We've got ministerial experience, and we can take people into a progressive government.
You mentioned your support's increasing. A lot of that probably comes from Labour floundering a bit. Aren't you just splitting the left bloc?
No, not at all. Firstly, our support is shown to be directly related to the good work we are doing. It doesn't need to have come to us if we were crap. However, we've been putting the solutions out that people really believe in, and we are focused on what we can do. We cannot control what any other political parties do.
Are you putting all your eggs in the wealth tax basket, though?
Not just, it's also reprioritising. So for our climate safe cities, for example, moving funding away from extra lanes, really expensive lanes on highways, into public transport, surface light rail, for example, saves a whole lot of billions to be able to reprioritise into the things that are going to take us into the future. So it's both a wealth tax and spending what we've got better.
A lot of those policies, though, are from the wealth tax, right? So you kind of turn up at the negotiating table, and wealth tax is off the table. All your policies are kind of costed from a wealth tax.
And that's why I know people are looking for hope. And my message is really, really clear. The Greens have got the experience of enduring solutions, like, for example, the Warmer Kiwi Homes program that was done with a national party right back with Jeanette Fitzsimons. And every successive government have expanded that, and we want to expand it even more. So we have got proof that people can vote for us, and we will do things that get it across the line. And right now, every voter has the opportunity to get a wealth tax up and running if they vote for the Green Party.
We heard from those kids in there that the lasagna wasn't that nice, the food lacked flavour, and that the chicken wasn't cooked. Will you make a pledge now, maybe a personal pledge, for the food to be tastier?
We also heard from a lot of the children that they really liked the lasagna was one of the favourites, that they liked the brownie and the muffins because they had vegetables in them. And so we heard a range of honest opinions, which I think is really important. As the mother of 6 children and 2 grandchildren, I know how hard it is to please everyone. I think no matter what, it's important that we get nutritional and really tasty food across the line. For children, will always make up their own minds about how it tastes as well.
No undercooked chicken, no, on your watch?
Definitely we should not be having undercooked chicken, but I don't want to confirm that that's actually what has happened either.
Just a question on security and the campaign.
Yes.
How have you found it this year compared to other years? We have had obviously incidents at various other events this year. So, what is your message to your candidates and what are you putting in place there?
It has been different this election. This is my 4th general election, but I've also had a co-leader election. So I'm quite experienced in campaigns. This is feeling very different. We can't take our security for granted the way that we used to, and I think that's sad. My message to our candidates is to always be cautious, but my message to voters is be really clear that we need to protect politicians being accessible and available in public, at your supermarket, at your hairdressers. We don't want to lose that, and all of us have a responsibility and can actually send that message out to others. Please don't lose that accessibility for politicians, and that requires keeping us and journalists safe in public, which is the least that we should expect.
And you mentioned differences from previous campaigns. What's some examples of what you've seen?
Just even needing to not take that for granted anymore, even needing to be aware that public events could well run a risk of interruption and disruption and being unsafe. I'm really sad about that. But again, I think all of the community can stand collectively and say, let's not ruin our incredible democracy. Let's improve it and make sure that people can walk up to us and have a chat, because that's what I want for all of our voters as well.
Will you watch the debate tonight?
I'm more committed to understanding the discussion from people on the ground and knowing what they want to see from us. And I'm focused on what the Greens have to offer, so I'm not confirming that I'm going to watch the debate tonight.
But you might.
I might.
Do you feel like it matters? Do you feel like voters do actually get a true sense of kind of what the two parties and leaders can offer, or is it for show?
To be honest, I don't think the ordinary voter takes a huge lot from just those debates alone. I think us hearing directly when people are in their comfortable environments, when we're not just putting things on for the camera, when there's no cameras around, I think those are the conversations that are really important for politicians.
Do you feel like leaders do kind of put it on for the cameras in a debate like that?
We understand the need to satisfy television requirements and the role that our media have to play, and we're thankful for the role that media play to get our messages out. But it's also why we're not totally dependent on just TV debates.
Labor announced their solar policy yesterday, and they've also said that lunch in schools program they're likely to extend it beyond December next year. Is Labor stealing your policies?
But with a B- copying is what I would say. If people want the A+ solutions, it is the Green Party that they can vote for. Thanks, everyone.
Do the Greens need Hipkins to wipe the floor with election tonight?
I need to hear from both of them what their solutions are going to be, but what the Greens need is for people to support us, and I'm going to be a boring, broken record about that. Not boring, energetic.
So you will tune in and hear those solutions?
I don't know, I might be travelling, but I'm sure that I will hear what their solutions are as well.